So glad you're joining us today. You are going to have a special treat. I can't even wait to introduce you to our guest. We are on season 2, episode 37 of my I Love Learning podcast. And if you don't know me, my name is Dr. Gina Anderson, and I am the host of the I Love Learning podcast, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Luma Brighter Learning. Luma helps industries in the supply chain save lives through our award-winning connected learning platform. If you don't know about my company, go to lumabrighterlearning.com. And I would love if you'd subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the links in the comments section, because we have the most amazing guest today. And anyone that comes on my podcast has a mind of a champion. And today I just learned that my guest is just starting his glory days, and his name is Justin Austin, and he's the senior vice president at ION. In the heart of his work is his commitment to build strong relationships. He was saying he just moved into a new house and has a ton of medals. So I cannot wait to hear not only how he builds strong relationships, but also how he builds a strong mindset, because he believes that trust and transparency and collaboration are the foundation of every successful partnership. And we all know that, don't we? It really takes pride, and he takes pride in being a strategic advisor. He's not just a consultant. He actually listens, he understands, and he provides solutions that makes a difference. And you all, I just found out he is in Cincinnati. I'm not sure if he's a Bearcat, but he has run, if Keith Johnson's listening, he has run an Ultra Mini, and he might have committed right before to do that with us. So I'm going to bring him on stage, and he can say it. He can tell us in his own words if he's committed to doing an Ultra Mini with us. Justin, welcome to my show. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone what you're passionate about, and maybe commit to doing an Ultra Mini with me and Keith Johnson? We'll see.
First of all, thanks, Gina, for having me on the show. It's an honor.
Absolutely.
Been following the podcast here both seasons, and you have some incredible guests on your show. So honored to be included in those guests. So appreciate that. Know Keith well. We've met several times over the years. So I used to run some ultras and minis. So it's been a little bit. My glory days might be behind me, but we can restart them. We can re-engage that. So in 2021, I did a 24-hour race. I did the Burning River 50-mile race.
Wow. 50 miles. What's that like? Like, do you run the whole thing, or is it like a walk run, or how is that? 50 miles?
Well, it sucks, first of all, but once you get through it, it's very rewarding. So a lot of people do run it straight through. I ended up making it about 33 miles before I stopped for the first time. And then I did like a run walk to get to the 50 miles. So I did about 11 hours, 30 minutes, but without stopping, either running or run walk. So it was definitely one of my biggest, physical achievements was during that time, and really getting into running and endurance type sports. So I'll back up though and kind of tell the audience a little bit about myself, a little bit of a unique background, like most of the people that come on your show, right? So I was born in Kentucky, Southern Kentucky, Lake Cumberland area. I was born into a trucking family. My dad's been an owner operator / company driver his entire life, right? So it's 30 plus years. I grew up in the truck with him. So I've been 45 states in a semi truck.
Wow.
I actually remember helping him trace the logbook, one to the DOT and one to the dispatcher to get paid. Obviously can't do that anymore with electronic logs, but I do remember that we had a small fleet growing up, nothing crazy, 8-10 trucks in middle school. So I was running the home office while him and the drivers were out. So I was booking C.H. Robinson cheap and heavy loads and TQL loads in middle school. And like most kids in a trucking family, you're told the entire time growing up, do not become a truck driver, right? They always
really
a lot of fathers out there, a lot of drivers, don't go to college, go, make something of yourself. So I decided not to be a truck driver. I decided to go into logistics. So I actually started at Total Quality Logistics, straight out of school, the week I graduated from undergrad. Spent 7 years at TQL, 5 as a freight broker. I was one of their top sales guys.
Wow.
Went back from that MBA from Thomas More University here in Northern Kentucky and moved into leadership. And then I created their Mexico department in 2020. So created that, grew that to a pretty sizable business unit, and then made a career change to insurance. USI Insurance is a national brokerage firm, and they were looking for someone to kind of spearhead transportation logistics in greater Cincinnati and in the Midwest. Did that for 3.5 years and pivoted to Aon, Aon, in a similar expanding role about a year ago. I just had my 1-year anniversary.
Wow, congratulations. That's incredible. Well, I will say this, Justin. First of all, thank your dad and thank your family and thank you for all your work in this industry. It's a really special industry, as you know, and your work that you do now is pivotal to the success, of fleets and everyone. So I really can appreciate that and admire that, because it's not easy work, and one of the reasons I started my podcast is because drivers were saying they were lonely. I was, getting messages and they were telling me they were depressed. We actually did a study and found that a lot of fleets don't, address the mental health issues, but they're struggling out there. And I wanted to start this because I wanted to have people on my podcast like you that have a mind of a champion. For you to go, 50 miles, 5 miles, 25 miles, you have to have grit and you have to have strength. And the thing is, like, people think, oh, well, I'm different from you. Like, I can't do that. Like, he talks about, how his weight and how he overcame that. And so, tell the audience a little bit maybe about your what you're truly passionate about. And has there ever been anything in your life that's kind of held you back from your passion and how you kind of overcame that?
Yeah, leading up to the show, I put a lot of thought into what I'm passionate about. And I've went in waves. I'm passionate about running or reading or learning or school. But really where my mind kept going was my work in the nonprofit sector. I mentioned the family and trucking, but, the dark side of the family piece is I grew up homeless for a little bit and bouncing in and out of foster care systems and staying with family and staying with friends. And the trauma that kind of went along with that. Once I became successful in my career, I wanted to give back. And that's kind of where my heart is right now. Is I've served on the executive board for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Greater Cincinnati. I currently serve on the board of trustees for Upspring. And for those not with Upspring here in Cincinnati, but they're the only nonprofit locally that helps with homeless kids through education. So in Greater Cincinnati, there's been over 8,000 children considered homeless here recently. 8,000 just in Greater Cincinnati.
Wow.
Homeless isn't just what most people think. That's not unsheltered. That's not staying on the street corner. If someone sees a kid on the corner, they're going to help them. It's couch surfing between different friends and family and grandma, or it's 6 or 7 kids in a 1-bedroom apartment at grandma's house. That's really the population that we're trying to serve. And we provide a summer camp all summer for those kids in need, because that's where they're typically the most neglected, because they don't have a school counselor teacher to go to. So it was like last week, for example, during one of the summer camps in downtown Cincinnati, we went and served Skyline Chili to about 80 children, inner city Cincinnati children. And even just me walking out with a box of hot sauce, I got tackled. And just seeing the smile on their faces. So that's really where my passion lies, is giving back, helping build the community around me and make it better.
I love that so much, and I think it's really important that people realize, looking at you, I never knew you were homeless. You don't know what somebody's been through. You make assumptions when you look at someone. Well, you did that. You went to college. You did this because you had a good, you had everything. And it's like, well, no. You look at you and it's like, I would have never known you were homeless. So thank you for sharing that. And I think that, you've been through so much, and the fact is, like, you're giving back, and it does mean a lot. It changes your life. You can start and you can have nothing, and you can find gratitude in something in those moments when you really need it. So that is incredible that you do that work. It's much needed. There's a lot of hungry children. There's a lot of hungry people. And that is so powerful. Thank you for doing that. I mean, it's just so powerful. You touch so many lives and you change them, and they'll never forget that. So I'm sure, I mean, I always ask, like, what keeps you happy and wanting you to continue to move forward? I mean, what is it? I mean, is it the feeling you get, or, I mean, what keeps you happy and wanting you to keep doing this?
Yeah. I mean, I like to say adversity doesn't define you, it refines you. So I learned what not to do growing up, and I made it my life mission to kind of do the opposite and then help those in need. So yeah, it's seeing those kids eat Skyline, or even just like the small, like I have two sons, I got a 5 and 7-year-old, just seeing the smile on their face keeps me going. I did want to touch base, you mentioned the mental health piece. That's something, mental health and also being vulnerable are two things that have really shifted in my mindset due to the trauma and due to the impact that had on my life. It hardened me. So I remember in college and really my first 7 years at TQL, I didn't really care about building relationships. I didn't really care about opening up. Even as a leader, I really just used my work ethic and my problem solving abilities, and I just climbed the corporate ladder. I didn't build relationships. I didn't want up. I didn't want to be vulnerable. And what happened was my mental health started suffering. And mentioned with the drivers and isolating, I isolated myself with my work, whether it was, and then outside of work, right? It was running. It was really fixating to the point I was suffering and trying to go through the pain. When I started, I had to, again, it was mental health. I put that on the forefront. And for me, that's waking up, that's meditating, that's journaling every morning. It's getting 30 minutes of some sort of exercise in daily to kind of keep me sharp. And, there used to be this mental health stigma. And I'm here to, if those who think there's still a stigma, there's not a stigma. If you're suffering from health, seek resources. There's plenty out there now.
Yeah. Justin, I'd love for people to be able to reach out to you. I mean, I think I talk about this a lot on this podcast, like for men to speak up and speak out and tell each other they love each other and they're there to help each other doesn't happen. It doesn't mean it's a weakness. It means that you're together and you can be there for each other, no matter your age, your gender, anything. We really should be building a community to help each other. So you do feel safe that you want to do that. But you just mentioned something that I think holds people back. And it's like you said, you're hardened. So how did you go from being hardened and like, was there a critical moment or something that was like, okay, maybe I should start building relationships? Or can you remember, was it something you learned, or how did you overcome being hardened? Because I think that's it. I think people are feeling hardened. They feel like this doesn't apply to me. What do you think?
I think there was probably two moments. One being, I eventually realized, and I don't know the exact moment, but I was sitting, I think I was in the living room and my kids were playing and I was on my email and my oldest, Finley, had to say, "Hey, Daddy," 3 times. And that clicked to me. It was like, wait, I'm working so much. I'm successful, but to what degree? And it shifted my mindset of winning and being successful. Is work-life balance, or I actually like this term, work-life flexibility, right? So you're winning at life and go leave work at 3:00 and see your son's t-ball game, or you go to swim practice, or you're not criticized for taking a week-long vacation and unplugging. So that moment was eye-opening. It's like I was missing out on their childhood to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week to make a lot of money. And I was successful when I was at TQL, but that's real when it really opened up. But then also in my MBA program, not the MBA program. I did a GP Elevate. GP is Gilman Partners, this executive training program. And we did a couple books, but the one that really stuck out was Brene Brown's book about vulnerability and leading from the front. A lot of great tidbits there, but that shifted how I was going to be a leader. And one thing I took away from that I still do to this day is I try to get to know each one of my employees outside of work. So as I get a new team member or as I take on a new sales team, I actually pass out index card, or if it's a virtual team email, and have them write down 3 personal goals that they have, especially with the younger sales. I'm in sales, so the younger sales folks, stuff like buy their first home, or pay off their car loan, or buy their girlfriend an engagement ring. And then each month on the one-on-one check-ins, I'm asking them, hey, are you up to the $3,000 to buy your 1-carat diamond ring, or where are you at on your student loans off? And that paid off dividends. Yeah, it held them more accountable. It allowed for a better check-in. But it allowed us to be people, because people are people.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you for that tip. I love it. I really think, because how many times is it like we're so focused on the emails and we don't connect with people? That's what my TEDx is going to be about, because this very thing about being so engaged with our phones that we're losing the connection with each other. I think that is so critical, and I'm hyper focused on it because we see it, we feel it. We're feeling disconnected. So the fact that you connect with people is powerful. So you have all these medals. You were just telling me before, usually your back is full of medals. What is winning to you? Is it the medals? What do you think?
No, winning shifts back to what I kind of just stated as far as winning at life. If you win at life, you can win at everything. So it's a mindset of shifting to home first. That's really where winning comes for me. It's, just took off a week on vacation, summer vacation with my 2 sons, and was able to recharge. Needed it as I was moving. I decided to endure the suffering and move to my new house myself. I got some buddies helping this weekend, but most of it I've done. So I needed a recharge last week so I can win at this move.
I like that. Moving it's never a good process. I think one of the hardest moves I had was actually in Dayton. You asked me about it. I actually moved across the parking lot in an apartment building, and I'm like, I'll do it all myself. That was probably the hardest move because I did it all myself and I moved from across the street. So I get moving is really, really hard, but I really can appreciate this idea of unplugging. Last week, I was at an event and I looked around and everyone's on their phones. It's like everyone is like I'm sitting there watching, and it's like, we're in an epidemic with it. And I think it's important we keep talking about it. And when we're together, we're fully present, right? So we can have these moments together that are powerful, and I think this is part of the issue. People are saying, right, they're feeling depressed and they're feeling alone and they're feeling lonely, but they're preferring to be alone. So what would you say to that person if they reached out to you, or that man or woman that's listening that's feeling like they're in that heavy place? What recommendation would you have for them?
Yeah, I would say to start off, anyone listening can reach out to me, email justin.austin@aon.com. Phone number is 859-652-9454. That's my personal cell phone. Anyone struggling, reach out. I can try to connect you with the right resources or just talk through it with you. I'll kind of pivot back. So therapists, see a therapist. There's not a negative stigma to that. I personally see one multiple times a month, and it's game changing for me. One thing I would like to say, connecting the technology with the mental health. One thing my therapist recommended, 4 or 5 months ago, and I love it. So go into ChatGPT or whatever GPT that you have on your phone and word vomit. And by word vomit, where were you born? Tell AI about your childhood trauma and all your issues that you had. Then put in there your education, your certificates, career success, and say, create a positive profile of myself.
Oh, I love that.
Do that back to yourself. And then as you do achieve or have negative things in your life, go back and it will update it. And just being able to read that, I probably should read it more myself. I read it probably once a month, but it paints you in the light that is more accurate, right? Where we criticize ourselves every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I will say this, and I had this sticker here because I was practicing a talk, but you are a winner. You are a winner. I mean, everything about you. You should put that in your chat, Justin. I am so proud of you. First of all, for having the courage to come on my podcast today and tell us about your hurdle and how you're, staying happy and overcoming that. And look, we're going to continue to have hurdles in our lives. This is not, this isn't like come and go. It's like they're always there. I mean, any day something can happen, but when you're connected with the right resources, everyone has a coach. I have a running coach. You have a therapy coach, you have an education coach. There's nothing wrong with having a coach help you. I have a speaking coach. I mean, we all have coaches. We have all sorts of coaches. And you don't have to pay for it. You can talk to a friend, talk to a trusted advisor. You can talk, like you said, if you have the resources and you have the resources to get a mental health therapist, certainly do that too. But thank you so much, Justin. Leave us today with some lasting words of advice and tell everyone. You just gave everyone your phone number. We won't post that on social media, but we will post all your links. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, LinkedIn. I'm not a big social media person, but decent presence on LinkedIn, and then email would be it. I mean, my advice is just mindset, right? Wake up every day, trying to get better, trying to spend time with your family, and just kind of persevere. Like there's no other option. If you look at anyone successful in life, pick your favorite celebrity, business person, they all failed over and over and over. And the ones that win are the ones that keep on trucking.
Oh, I love that. And with that, everyone, I hope you all go out and keep trucking, keep doing good things, always be kind and be well, and know that we are here. So we will see you next time. Justin, keep trucking, and thanks for being on my show today.
Thank you, Gina. Take care.